All right, live and learn. If you leave your phone next to your recorder, it's gonna look like garbage, okay? Anyway, guys, here's the truth. Gaming in general, any media for the most part, but like mobile games, AAA games, everything, nowadays, they're just bad. I feel like in the last decade, that has become a whole game of like release as it is, fix up later, patch, whatever. Hopefully people gonna forget after the 20th patch, and but that's how it is. Now we have seen some change in the last decade as well, like for example, Sonic the Hedgehog, where they pretty much scrapped the whole design when people complained, and they actually delayed the movie for about a year. Now, what happened with that? They actually made over $1 billion. A lot of people that wouldn't have gone to the movie theater decide to actually go to support the studio. Okay, and that's where I get to Fateless Studios and Godforge. You guys may not know, but this game has been thought of since about July 2023. They put a lot of work on that, and about 11 months ago, they pretty much scrapped the game. Now, the reason why they scrapped the game is while the game worked, it wasn't worked as they wanted. The game was, I would say, maybe complicated to the point that it's not enjoyable. Even the people involved, they didn't feel the game was doing what they wanted the game to do. But I want to show you guys a little bit of what Simon says about that when they decide to scrap. And by the way, guys, I'm going to be doing a deeper dive on the timeline of the game from early beginnings to now going on alpha on the next videos. I just feel that's something really important so you guys can get involved, because in the end of the day, when you actually support games like this that are all pro game, and it's gamers making games for gamers, okay? So it's our own people making something we gonna enjoy. So let's take a look at what he says about that.
The archetype of the hero that you're recruiting, that you're collecting, needs to fit in a certain role in a team to make some sense. And fundamentally, as I say, you'd be looking at trying to build out tanks and basically protectors for your team in that front row, and then people to obliterate the enemy in your back row. And we thought this is a really cool system. We thought it'd add a little bit of difference to current gameplay mechanics that we see in the genre. So then that translates then into building hero kits where they've got a certain group of different things they could do. They could target maybe the front row and then have an ability that goes through the front row into the back row. You could have healing and shielding abilities which just are corresponding to your space on the grid. And there's actually a ton of potential depth to this type of system. All really cool stuff, right? It's like, so far you're like, HH, why are you telling us this? Why is this just not still happening? Honestly, we tested it a bunch and people have struggled with the real complexity behind the grid. And they've also struggled with feeling like they're in a tactical RPG or a tactical game rather than just a turn-based RPG. Things like having to target the ground instead of the enemy champion was a problem for people that were testing. Things like understanding language. So, you know, what does adjacent mean to you versus what it means to me? And ultimately, although this felt like a really cool direction, we were actually pushing too much complexity for the average player. And it's meant that we've had to have this kind of like stop moment in time and decide that we're actually going to scrap this system for something else, and something else that we've now been working on hard. And honestly, coming out the other end, I couldn't be happier. 10 days on, the team are so fired up for the new direction. It's almost like, what the hell was the grid? Okay, what the hell was this grid system that we were thinking about? Because the new direction's super cool. And I'll share that in the near future. I can't share it yet, but I'll share it in the near future.
Now you guys have to imagine, you just spend a lot of money in animations, in character design. You have investors, you know, expecting a game to be coming out, and then you have to come up to them and say, hey, it's not good enough. Now, you would think probably that's the logical thing you should be doing, but I think you guys heard about Cyberpunk 2077, Anthem, and a lot of other games where they're like, well, let's monetize. We can try to fix later. If it doesn't work, we already sold the game, so they're lost. Yeah. So, no, they decided to take another approach. And that's why I keep saying you need to support people like this, because they're actually trying to do something better and change the industry in certain ways. So, yeah. But now, you know, 11 months later, we're approaching the alpha test. They're finishing the pre-alpha. They don't have the precise date yet, because even for the alpha test, they want to have things a little bit better fixed. Not like, trust me, I done alpha testing before. I done beta testing, and in comparison, by what I've seen, I beta tested games that are not as polished. So, yeah. But hey, let's see what Simon says about where we are on the pre-alpha right now.
Really, really great. So, you know, the heroes are coming in. We're getting ready for the alpha. We're also kind of playing with a bunch of things on combat. So we're constantly testing and sort of finalizing things. This is not the right screen, but who cares? Let me show you some combat. So we're kind of playing with cameras. We're playing with some of the sort of visual effects that we can do. So if you look here, this is kind of like that 3/4 camera where it's more not top-down view, but isometric view. We've got this back view here, and then we've got this kind of like cinematic view. And we're kind of like, we've now got it to the point, I think, where 2x speed is starting to really feel slick as well. For a while, sort of, we were really having to rely on 1x speed whilst we were working on, you know, how it feels. But we're getting there on cameras and stuff. So, and then when the enemy attacks, you saw there, we've kind of come behind. Oh, Gilgamesh, laying it down, laying down the smack. But yeah, you kind of, we're getting to that point now where, I don't know, it just feels better when it's the enemy's turn. We kind of like come behind our team whilst the enemy come at us. And yeah, all these different things we're kind of playing around with. So lots going on. Gilgamesh laying the smack down and coming in with a big axe. Gotta love to see it.
All right, guys. So again, this is still on pre-alpha, but we are approaching the waves of alpha. So just so you guys know, it's going to be 3 waves. Those waves that are going to be alpha testing, there are the waves that signed up for beta. What does that mean? Do you want to get involved? You can go and sign up for the beta, and you're probably not going to be in the first wave, but you may be going into the second and third wave. The signups are still open, and third wave, I believe they're going to put everybody who signed up for the beta. Again, I don't work for dance, therefore take that with a grain of salt. But it's pretty exciting. It's a really good time for you guys to get involved. And let me know in the comments what you guys think of the game. And as always, I'll see you in the game.